We are beginning now, Perek Zayin, Pasuk Aleph. For your comic books, this lesson is going to be the fifth of the 8 things that you're required to have in your comic book. Number 5 is Gideon decreases the size of his army. So that's what we're going to learn about today. We just finished learning that Gideon had 2 signs. Wool being wet, land being dry, or wool dry, land wet. Both signs worked out for Gideon, and now he's ready to go to war. He has an army with him, but before he begins to fight, he has a message come to him from Hashem. Here we go. Pasuk Aleph, Perek Zayin. Vayashkem Yerubal hu Gideon. Yerubal, who is also known as Gideon, wakes up, and the entire nation that's with him. Vayachanu, and they camped al Ein Charod. They camped on the spring of Charod. Umachane Midyan ayalo mitzafon. To the north was the Midyan camp. Migivat Hamora ba'emek. They were in the valley, and they were waiting to go to war with Bnei Yisrael. Now, it just so happens Yerubal was Gideon's name given to him by his father. His father named him that because Baal is the name of the god that Gideon was fighting against. The Jewish people believed in this idol called Baal, and Gideon's life mission was to get rid of that Baal, that idol, from the Jewish people. So his father named him Yerubal, which means the one who fights against Baal. Pasuk Bet. We're about to fight in the war. Hashem says to Gideon, Vayom Hashem al Gideon, Rav ha'am asher itach. You have too many people with you. Mititi et Midyan biyadam. To give you the people of Midyan, to win them in the war. Why? This is very strange. Having too many soldiers should not be a problem. The more soldiers you have, the more chance you have at winning. Yet Hashem says something over here very puzzling. You have too many soldiers for me to allow you to win the war. What is Hashem's reasoning? So here the Navi tells us beautifully, Pen yitpa'er ala Yisrael lemor yadi hoshia li. I am worried that the Jewish people are going to claim that it was their power that saved themselves, not me. And I want it to be that they recognize that Hashem is the guiding force that allowed them to win the war. If they have too many soldiers, they will fail to recognize that they won the war because of Hashem's help. What a powerful lesson over here in Pasuk Bet, given to the Jewish people from Hashem, that their success is in Hashem's hands and in no one else's. V'ata kirana be'aznei ha'am lemor. So now call to the ears of the people and say, Mi yarei v'chared, who is afraid? Yashov yitzbor me'ar Gilad, return. V'yashav min ha'am 22,000, and then 22,000 left. V'aseret alafim nisharu, and only 10,000 remained. So from this we get a sense how many people were in Gideon's army. We see that they started at 32,000, and after that, when people were afraid and they left, now you only have 10,000 left. If we look at our notes, we've already covered some of our notes. Perek Zayin, Pasukim Aleph till Chet. Hashem tells Gideon that he has too many soldiers in his army. Hashem commands Gideon to send home all soldiers that are scared. 22,000 leave and 10,000 remain. You can pause the video now and write down those bullet points, and then you can come back and listen to the next part. So now we continue with Pasuk Dalet. Vayom Hashem al Gideon, and then Hashem says to Gideon, Od ha'am Rab, your nation, your people, 10,000, that's still too many. So he says to them, He says to Gidon, bring them down to the water, and I will cleanse them there. And it will be, whoever I tell you when you get to the water to go back to fight with you, to be your soldiers, those will be the ones that will be your soldiers, and whoever I tell you not to be your soldiers, those will not be your soldiers. So Gidon brings them down to the water, and at this point, Hashem proceeds to tell Gidon how to separate between the 10,000 that he has. Vayomer Hashem el Gidon, Hashem says to Gidon, Kol asher yalok bilshono min hamayim kasher yalok hakelev. Whoever drinks the water, tell them all to drink, he says. Go down and drink water. And he tells them, look at all the ones who drink the water like a dog. Tatzigo tolevad, put them in their own group. Chol asher yichral birkav lishkot. And then put in another group, whoever bends down their knees to drink. So let's take a look. We'll take a look at a picture here. We have one picture. You can see in this, the person is bending his knees to get to the water. Here's a closer picture. You look at this person over here. He's putting his face into the water. Here's another picture. This person has his face into the water as well. That's the ones that are like a dog, taking the water like a dog. However, if they're just bending down and taking the water with their hands, that's the other group. So he divided the Jewish people into these two groups. The ones that drank the water by putting their face all the way to the water, and the ones that bent down on their knees and took the water with their hands. And now the Navi tells us the numbers. The number of those who took the water to the mouth, was a mere 300. But the rest of the nation, they bent down and drink the water like a dog. And Hashem says to Gidon, take the 300, not the 9,700 that drank like dogs. Take the 300. Venatati et Midyan biyadecha, and I will give Midyan into your hands. Let's take a look at what notes we've covered. So Hashem says, we're up to over here. Hashem says that there are still too many soldiers. Hashem instructs Gidon to take them to the water, and there they will be divided. Hashem at the water, two groups are formed. One that drinks water like a dog, and the other one that drinks from their hand. Hashem chooses the 300 that drank from their hand. The soldiers leave to go and fight, and they take two things with them, trumpets and food. Let's take a look at that ourselves. They took food in their hands, and they took trumpets. And the rest of the people went back to their tents, and the 300 that stayed, and the enemy waited for them at the valley. So this is the lesson that discusses the diminishing, the making smaller of Gidon's army. Thank you for listening, and make sure you write down all the notes in your notepads, in your notebooks, in your Navi notebooks. That was your homework for class 5A, and I will be checking that tomorrow. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful night.